lastly, before we get into the Beastmaster, now this one, I'm going to catch you off guard with this one because I know that you might not have been prepared to have this conversation today. It's not a hard conversation, but it's a tough question.
I don't like this, but go on.
So, lately, we have watched The Naked Guns. And then recently, we've watched both Hot Shot movies. And I was just sitting there and I'm just like, all of these movies are great. Nobody's denying that. Which is the better series?
Naked Gun.
Is it? Is it?
I Without hesitation, I say that, but it is so close. It to quote Letterkenny, it's a sea hair away from one being better than the other. And I only give them. I'm only going to give it to Naked Gun because Naked Gun has 3 movies, and I think the slapstick jokes. I'm gonna sound pretentious as fuck. Go ahead and get that out of the way. I think they're classier in the Naked Gun. The jokes are in terms of how they're presented and handled. They're not goofy. There we go. They're not as goofy as the Hot Shot jokes are. They have a little bit more meat to them, with the exception of my favorite joke from Hot Shots Part 2, when Charlie Sheen is writing or Topper Harley. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I get his name right.
Up
Is
there.
is writing in his journal, and I can't remember what movie that's actually from. I want to say it's from. No, I don't, because I don't remember if he's in that or not. Never mind. But he's writing in his journal, and all of a sudden, Martin Sheen starts talking over his voiceover, and he's reading word for word his lines from Apocalypse Now, and they pass each other on the boat, and they're like, "I loved you in Wall Street." With the exception of that one, because that one's actually not even that goofy. That one's actually, I think, in that Naked Gun tier, but it's just the way that the Naked Gun jokes are presented, and where the Hot Shot jokes sometimes feel like they try too hard. They're still funny, because I mean, Saddam Hussein lightsaber fighting Lloyd Bridges is, come on, come on.
But you see, this is I'm on the stance where yes, I agree that with the Naked Gun movies, like these are it's classic, it's traditional. It's damn near perfect. But I feel that the Hot Shots movie is kind of like, okay, the evolution, the little like let's just go a little bit more edgier. And then, like you said, Hot Shot, like Lloyd Bridges alone.
He's the best part of Mafia too. I'll put an asterisk on there because Wrongfully Accused is probably my like guilty pleasure Leslie Nielsen movie because it is great, but
Yeah.
it's in that it falls into that goofy category, but I love it so much anyway.
You know what was really, really getting me in the first one, in the first Hot Shots, that uh I don't know why. I laughed so much harder at it this time, this go around. But just the running gag of everybody sitting on the dog. It just keeps popping up and it never got old. It was always funny.
All right, I'll give it that. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. You got me. You got, but, but, I have to say though, the presentation of the comedy then Naked Gun is, I don't want to call it slapstick, even though there is some slapstick elements to it. Whereas the Hot Shots movies are 100% slapstick. I mean, that's what it is. It's that goofy style. So we're kind of comparing apples to like we're comparing Granny Smith apples to Macintosh apples here.
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
similar, but one's got a little bit more bite to it than the other, depending on what your preference is. So you can't go wrong, is what I'm trying to say.
right, right. I think, and I'm not saying we need to figure this out right now, but maybe in the future, what we need to do is because, like you said, it is a kind of unfair, uneven, like 3 versus 2. And I'm like, what we need to do is we just need to figure out which one is the best of each series, and then compare those two.
In my mind, that's gonna go Naked Gun 2 and Hot Shots 2 really fast, and then we're gonna probably end up in a stalemate because it's gonna go back and forth. How long do we have for the? Oh, we can stream however the fuck long we want to. How much time do you have? We're gonna go it over joke by joke, basically frame by frame, and we're gonna hammer this shit out.
Two versus deux.
2.5 versus deux.
2.5 deux. I like it. I agree. I definitely agree on Hot Shots that the second is probably the best. Although, you know what was funny? Again, I hadn't seen these movies in like forever. And I used to watch them all the time, like on repeat. I taped them off HBO, and I would just watch them like over and over and over again when I was like a kid. But it was totally lost on me that that dude in the first one, what was his name? The guy with the messed up vision, that was John Cryer or whatever. And so like that's Charlie Sheen and the guy from 2.5 Men, like back then.
There's your 2.5 connection again too. It's a conspiracy and it goes full circle. I just had a realization though. I think the guys who produced Hot Shots, I think it's the Zucker brothers who did Kentucky Fried Movie, which is that same sort of humor, but it's also the same guys that did the Naked Gun 33 1/3, which blends that humor together. So melting pot of comedy, if you will. And I might be wrong, but I got some serious Kentucky Fried Movie vibes from part 2 when we watched it.
Jim Abrahams?
Yep.
Yep.
Pretty sure he had something to do with both series.
Airplane, Top Secret, Police Squad.
Yep.
Naked Guns. Yep.
There you go.
Kentucky Fried Movie. Yeah. All of the above. Guilty as charged.
So there you go. That is basically like doing Coke and New Coke, and then bringing old Coke back. The soft drink. I'm not promoting anything here, even though we are talking about an 80s movie tonight.
The only thing, and again, none of this is a slide against any of the movies. But when watching the Naked Gun movies, I was just like, remember like the conversations we kept saying, we're like, man, why can't this come back? It sucks that this like is, gone. But
right.
When I watched Hot Shots, I was like, this movie's done in a way that I'm like, if it was done like Hot Shots with the right people, it might be possible. It might just be me. But like I watched Hot Shots and I'm like, this still kind of holds up in a weird, goofy way.
Same way Top Gun holds up in a weird, goofy way.
It's just unfortunate that there's no more Lloyd Bridges. Like that's the only bummer. Because he was one of a kind and hilarious as shit.
Yeah, and everybody forgets that's Jeff Bridges' dad too, which is doubly funny. I think he was the one in Airplane, or maybe it was Leslie Nielsen who didn't get the jokes, and they told him just to read them, like very serious and spot on. And his part of Airplane turned out to be one of the funnier parts of the movie. I mean, him and Leslie Nielsen steal the show, and then Robert Stack comes in and cuts right on in with the humor too. So yeah, we miss you, Lloyd.
I was telling my wife, I'm like, I'm hoping that, whenever the unfortunate time comes and my dad has to mentally check out and become a space cadet, um, I'm like, I hope that he at least acts like Lloyd Bridges.
Lloyd Bridges from Airplane, Lloyd Bridges from Hot Shots Part 2, or Lloyd Bridges from Mafia.
Part two.
That's entirely acceptable. Yeah.
Yes.